Hey, hello all. Welcome to Sattvic Healing YouTube channel and all my Sattvic Healing family. So today here I am to introduce you all to my emotional wellness mentor, my trauma healing coach, Meenakshi Verma. She is an incredible emotional mentor. She's not only a mentor, she's uh, my friend, my guiding angel. I can say many people call her Mask Lady because she helps people to unmask their traumas, their uh, belief system, a lot of things. And they call her Mask Lady, but I call her a magician because she has been a magician in my life who gave me a rebirth. So I'm thrilled to have a special guest today, my mentor Meenakshi Verma. She's an incredible emotional wellness coach and trauma healing coach who has dedicated her life to helping people heal deeply and find emotional balance. So Meenakshi has personally guided me through some challenging moments, helping me understand the power of emotional healing. And her wisdom and insights have shaped the way I approach trauma healing in my own practice. So this is I'm really excited today. So with years of experience in this field, Meenakshi specializes in helping individuals overcome trauma and find emotional peace. She's worked with countless people, guiding them through their healing process with compassion and care. And she's not only an emotional coach, she's even an author of a book, which is launching soon, Unmasked to Evolve. And I would recommend each and every one of you to read this book so that it's going to be life changing. Everyone needs to read this book. So welcome, Meenakshi, for today's session.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. I mean, it was really, it was really intense, deep, but it really felt good. And I would say it was really heartfelt. I think that was the most beautiful part of it. So thank you so much. And before I begin saying anything, once again, I would like to say that it really makes me feel proud of the fact that I could be a part of your journey. So thank you so much, Shweta, for letting me be a part of your journey. Truly, I say this many times, but again, I mean it with the deepest of my hearts that you could trust me in that moment and you just went ahead with it. So I'm really grateful for that first trust that you placed in me. That might have taken a lot of courage, I am sure. It would not have been easy, but thank you so much for taking that. And today we are here because of that one small courage that you could show, small but big courage that you could show. So, yes, thank you so much for inviting me on this platform. And hello, everyone, all the family members of Sattvic family. A really warm welcome to you from the deepest of my hearts. Hi, I am Meenakshi Verma, a personal emotional mentor, and I work with people to help them come out of their trauma challenges so that they can live a life full of potential, be it emotionally, physically, financially, and emotionally. And let's see how we both can add value to you. And let's hear all the questions, all the myths, and let's see how does it get better than this?
Yeah, before we start with the questions, I just want to tell my audience why we are doing this session. Why I wanted to do this a podcast with Meenakshi is that I was in a place where I was stuck because of my rheumatoid arthritis for 10 long years, and how this emotional healing sessions helped me. There are many people who are stuck in their lives because of this one disease. They are like all the other areas of their life are suffering. It might be their relationships, their career, and everything. So this how these I want them to be like I want this. Everybody doesn't have this awareness about what is this trauma, how this is going to help the physical illness, and all these things. So, with this, in this session, we will discuss all these things, how it is going to help from people from rheumatoid arthritis or any other illness for that matter. I'm mainly focusing on physical illness in this session, so that if you're stuck, there is a way out. And yes, this is what we are going to discuss in today's session. So let's begin. Uh, yes, Meenakshi. First of all, I want you to tell my audience about what is trauma and how does it affect the mind and body. For a
Right.
common man, if you had to explain what is trauma.
See, it's like, let's, take an example. So let's say there is an athlete who is about to run on a track, right? But as the athlete begins, he or she gets a wound on their body, maybe their leg, let's say their leg. It is wounded. Now, in that moment, the athlete has this need that I have to run,
Yeah.
but they also have a physical injury on their body. Now, there are two options. Either they stay there and they first tend to the wounds, or second is that they just go off and run without attending to that wound in the proper way. Now, usually in society, let's just, somewhere take the analogy into that emotional space. Whenever a human being is emotionally wounded, in different cases, in different moments of their life, what happens is that they are usually told by society that, forget about it, deal with it later, or, you can't be so emotional because emotions are bad. So just move on. And
Yes.
it's like, that athlete without attending the wound on the physical body runs. So in real life, a human being, when emotionally wounded, also is made to run without attending to those wounds. And this is what leads to trauma. So, to somewhere make it simple, trauma is just an emotional challenge that you have faced at one certain point of life, but you have not really resolved that issue. So it was a small emotional wound, you did not resolve it, and that turned into a trauma. And
Mm.
that trauma is what stays with you for a very long period of time. And if you don't address it, it can turn into different forms, like, your relationship crisis, it can have physical crisis, you can have different diseases, your body telling you that, this is where your trauma is. So please work on it. And that is what is trauma. In medical terms, usually people have a feeling that, okay, trauma is something where you are just having a huge incident and something has happened, like major thing. So in society in general, people feel that, oh, nothing bad has happened to me ever. So, I'm not traumatized. But it's not that something big has to happen. As we said earlier, it can be some emotional wound, unresolved issue that you have had. And now, because you have not tended it for a very long period of time, it grows. Just like that wound on the physical body, if the wound is there, the athlete doesn't attend to it, it will get all the pus and it will have the bacteria, and over a period of time it can also grow into something very disastrous. So you might have to amputate your leg as well. So that is how trauma grows in our society.
Oh, yes. I have experienced this. In my case, it was very small incident. It was not a very huge trauma or something, but it had a huge impact throughout my life. That's true, Meenakshi. So let's move on to the next question. What are some misconceptions about trauma that people have?
The very first misconception is that I am fine. They're like, everyone
Yes.
is like, I am fine, there's nothing wrong with me, and everything is okay, nothing bad has ever happened to me. And the minute you say this statement, any of these statements, it comes into that myth category where people feel that, again, since nothing bad has happened ever to me, I don't have trauma. But then they are stuck with the issue that, okay, if nothing has happened to me and I am not traumatized, then why am I depressed? Why am I emotionally exhausted? Why am I anxious? Or in most of the cases, since these challenges turn into a physical disease, people don't even have and awareness. Oh, so this is why I am going through this. Like, for simple example, whenever we go to doctors, so they give us prescriptions, they tell us everything, and at the end of it they say, don't take so much stress. And it's like, what is that stress? There's nothing wrong in my life. And here is where the gap is. People are not aware of the fact that that stress that professional or doctor is talking about, it could be an emotional wound that you're carrying since a very long period of time, subconsciously. You might not even know about it. So it's possible that you might have acidity, and that acidity could just be anger.
Yes.
So you are taking all the medications, but in reality, that acidity is just your anger issue. Once you resolve that anger issue, deep anger issue, your acidity will itself disappear from your body. This is how the physical body and the emotional senses connect to. If you don't tend to emotions, over a period of time, your body, which is very loyal, it starts addressing those. So this is one of the first myths, that I find there's nothing wrong with me, but then why are those diseases? If you have these things, then you need to ask these questions, that okay, if I don't have trauma, then why am I sad? If I don't have trauma, why am I sick? If I don't have trauma, why do I fall sick often? If I don't have trauma, why am I suffering from this autoimmune disease or this chronic disease? Because we need to really start asking these questions. The second is, again, there are many myths. The second is that something like, okay, if I meditate or if I do certain things, it will go away. I have often said this: trauma is an emotional challenge, deep rooted emotional challenge. So, yes, meditation has a specific significance in the entire process. Every single thing has a significance, space in the entire process, but it needs to be done in the right manner. For example, I think I was talking about this to someone recently, that meditation is there. In meditation, we obviously focus on the good positive aspects of life, and we try to connect to our neural messages, and we try to consciously impact it with the affirmations and thoughts, and have that mindful space. We try to do all of those things, but when we are not healed, this place is already in a space of survival. Meditation is a part of creation. It's a part of you being more self-aware, understanding, and discovering yourself, discovering your potential. It has a lot of capacity. But when a person is trauma stricken, it is possible that their mind space and consciousness is so much in a survival state that it sometimes becomes difficult to focus on those thoughts. And ultimately, people come up and then they say, oh, meditation doesn't work, or gratitude practicing doesn't work. It's just that trauma healing has a foundational significance that needs to be there. If you don't have that, it's possible that you might be doing a lot of things, putting in a lot of efforts, but because of a lack of proper guidance, you are not able to come out of your challenges, and you are still stuck with every possible unease of those diseases in your body, in your psychic state, and so on. So again, this is one of the second myths. um
About this, I want to just add this. I could recall one of the analogy that you give in your session about this, that there is a trash in your room and
yeah.
you're trying to use room fresheners and agarbattis and these things. These meditation and everything is like this. When you have this baggage, emotional baggages, if you're not clear these your traumas and all without clearing the trash, even how much ever room freshness you use, agarbattis you use, your room is going to smell bad. So this, I love this analogy that you give every time. Yeah. So yes, I can go ahead with the other myths you were telling about.
Yeah. So on top of my head, actually, I'm not getting any other myths, but if you can help me. Um, okay, so this is that there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with me. Second, I
Yeah, and
think,
usually this happens because there's nothing wrong with me. This is this comes maybe from our parents and the older generation. They've been telling us like it's normal. It happens with everyone. Why do you
Yeah.
why you're making a big deal out of it? So this is what they have been telling us, and we also believe that okay, nothing is wrong with me. All this is normal. We normalize it so much that it doesn't. We are not aware of how much it is impacting us.
Yeah, absolutely. Normalization is one of the biggest challenges, I would say. It's like, as you correctly said, everybody who has come before us, all the generations, and I guess this belief also seeps into the newer generation, because I have often seen people keep asking this question to me, that everybody seems fine in their life. Why everything is wrong with me? Why am I rationalizing so much? Everyone is okay with the work, with the company. Why am I the person who has so many complaints, so many problems, and can see so many challenges? So I think that idea has come into this generation as well. And it's very strong in the earlier generation, because they feel, again, as you said, normalization. So we are not able to differentiate between what is right, what feels right as a human, and what is imposed by the society as right. Like, I think we were discussing yesterday or a day before yesterday, that person is there. There's that nothing scheduled yesterday. Because of the Diwali thing,
Mm.
festival thing, there was a person who was feeling that, I suddenly got fever and my body pain has suddenly increased. But, when the person was asked the question that, okay, what happened 2 days back? So the person said, oh, this was, we celebrated, we did this, we did so many things, and so many people came up. And when we put across the question that, okay, so yes, there was a festival and you were celebrating it, you were enjoying it, but be honest, did you feel that you were overloaded with the work? And the answer was yes. So the person was somewhere, as a human being, the body needed that rest. But because of many other social influences, we tend to, adapt to those difficult changes which are inhumane sometimes emotionally. Like, it's not wrong, obviously, but in that context, in that moment, maybe the person just wanted to rest. But because of certain social influences, they would have to get up, work hard, and prepare so many things, which the body resists in that particular moment. So
Mm.
this myth is also there that everything was fine in our age. No, it was not fine. You just adapted it as something which is fine with you, so that you can live with the trauma again. Because
Yes.
if a human mind actually starts to process these in, normally the years of emotional baggages, I think it would be difficult. And that is where I really recommend having someone out there as a support system, as a mentor, who can really pull you out from that mess of things, because it can get really tricky in there.
Okay. So, Meenakshi, tell us like how can one recognize if they have some unhealed trauma or not? How do they recognize it?
The
They are
very
aware that what is trauma and what are the misconceptions now. If they have to figure out if they have some unhealed trauma or not, how do they do that?
Right. Whenever somebody, gets triggered a lot, let's say something happened to you, and I use this example often, that this is a cup, this is hot, and my skin suddenly just touches it unconsciously. So my natural reaction or response in that moment would be that, oh, this is hot, I just move my hands away. But let's say in the past, something terrible has happened, and I am so frustrated and irritated that this cup, this hot cup, when touches my skin and it burns me, move my hand away, and then I take this cup and I throw it across. I put all my anger to destroy this.
Mm.
This is what we call as triggering. And when this trigger, sometimes these triggers, when we find it in our lives, it becomes really difficult for us to control. Like, I guess I was watching a video today and it was beautifully put across. So the person in that video shared that, this, let's consider that this is your brain. And this is your upper brain, this is your lower brain, the reptilian and the neocortex brain that we call about. So, your conscious reasoning logical brain and your feeling brain. Let's say this is the thing. So when you're normal, when you're actually peaceful, at ease, and comfortable in your own skin, this is how your brain is. But when
Mm.
something happens, there's a disconnect. Your
Right.
logical brain is no longer connected to your emotional brain. And this is where we tend to break or create a lot of mess in our relationships. We create a lot of conflict in how we want to respect or disrespect our bodies. The entire connection is broken. So as we took the previous example, the lady, she wanted to rest, but because of the social influences, she had to get up and work, which she did not want to do because of the context. She wanted to rest. So the logical brain and the feeling brain, she had to keep them separate so that she could be functional. But this is a trauma. When this connection is not there, it is a trauma. So one of the things is, when you are triggered, that means that somewhere you need to work on your emotions. Something is not healed. The second thing is, obviously, your body. It is the first indicator which tells you that you are not all right. If you are angry and you want to suppress that anger, it is possible you might get fever. If you are, in a state of deep inner crying because of some or the other thing that has happened to you, and for some reason you are not expressing that grief, you will have cold. Immediately, inner crying, our nose will run and we will get our cough and cold. If again you have cough, you are trying to say something, but something is stuck here. And if it is ignored for a very long period of time, it might turn into your, coughing problem. Again, when these things become more intense, then you get more diseases, like your gut goes completely off track. So you have all the stomach issues, gut issues, acidity is there. When again you leave it for a longer period of time, it can turn into your chronic diseases, according to the emotional challenges that you've been suppressing for a very long period of time. And it's not just diseases that you get, you might often get into accidents. Because I have had two cases where the person did not actually get any disease on the body, but they
Mm.
met terrible accidents over a period of time, and that is what made their body, feel all the trauma that they were feeling inside. So yeah,
Mm.
this is how it changes. So these are different things. It's possible you might also, walk and you might get a bump on your feet. So it's like you
Yeah.
need to ask that question then and there. Okay, my leg, what is it that you're trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Is it that I'm going on the wrong path? What's happening? Like,
Yeah.
what is your message? Tell me directly, or, give me a sign.
Yeah. So this is my one of my personal experience. As I was healing people, started this trauma healing sessions and all. This happened with me that maybe initially I didn't know how to like. I used to take it very like their stories, whatever they used to share. I used to take it deeply, and whatever they used to share, that used to happen within a week. That used to happen to me. Like there was one lady who was sharing about like she was sharing something that her father fell down, she fell, something about falling in a whole story. And I don't know, that day I just slipped and fell. And yeah, I hurt my leg that day. So is it something, I mean, possible? And even there are not only this, there are many incidents when she was, the other person was talking about her relationship with her father. I had very, like, I didn't have any fights with my father for a long time. And that day, after that session, maybe after 2 3 days, I had a fight, a very intense fight. So is it somewhere I had, I don't know what happened exactly. Can you
I
explain
think this
about
is
this?
this is a beautiful, significant something which we need to address. And as we were talking about myths, it was not coming then, but I think this is again one of the myths category it would come in, and I'll explain how. So the whenever we are in the space of healing or listening to somebody, let's say, we often say that if you have a trauma or if you are feeling some challenges, go to your friend or your family and you just pour it out to them and you will feel better. This is one of the myths again.
Mhm.
Yes, you need to connect with the people that you know. You need to share those things, but understand that those emotional traumas will not heal by sharing.
Mhm.
It will heal when you address them in your inner world. So that is one myth which comes from this. You need to really, again, this is where we emphasize the importance of a mentor. You go to that person, that professional, you address your challenges, and then you come out of it. This is simple, right? The second thing is when you share that you were attending to one of your mentees, and she was sharing a lot of things, and then you started to see the certain changes in your environment. So this actually talks about how we need to actually be detached when we are working. I guess this is one of the things for mentors to
Right.
really learn as a skill over a period of time, and it will come over a period of time. It is not that something which you do in a day. This is
Mm.
something which needs to be accepted.
Yes.
So, what happens when you're sitting in front of someone? We all are human beings. So, what happens? It is very easy for us to get hooked into other people's suffering while we listen to them, because in that moment, the threshold between empathy and sympathy is very tricky. You might not know when you are empathetic and when you're actually connecting sympathetically to the person and feeling like, oh, all of these are like, all the pains that I have. So there is a very tricky ground there, which everybody, I guess, needs to acquire. And as I said, it comes over a period of time, which I personally call it as, detachment, a empathetic detachment to the person that you're listening to. Because when a person is in a field like this, or I guess when we are even with our loved ones, because over a period of time what I've observed is that earlier it was like, okay, go to your friends, go to your families and share your challenges. Today, as the information is spreading out, awareness is spreading out, people are somewhere opting to go to a professional and address the problems. But it has slowly started to create another problem, that is, people are too ready to just shame the other person, that, oh, you are emotionally unhealed, go to a professional, I don't want to listen to you, I don't want to spend time with you. You just
Yes.
go and get your trauma addressed, and then when you heal or you raise your vibration, only then I will talk to you. So this is also creating a challenge in people. What I would say is, it is more than okay to create a detachment, empathy with the people around you. Otherwise, we will start losing relationships. We can't always replace people. The people who do not work with you, well, yes, you need to definitely cut them out of your life. But there are other relationships around you as well who might in that moment just need you emotionally there. Yes, you might not be able to heal them, but they need you emotionally there. Let them go to a professional. But let's not start using this as a weapon against people or shaming them that, you are unhealed, go to a professional. So I think we addressed two, three things. One, I would say that it is a myth that if you go to a family person or a profession, family or a friend, you will heal. No, you can share it to them. It is a temporary release. But after understanding that, okay, these are the baggages that I'm carrying, you should go to a professional. Second thing, stop shaming the loved ones around you into taking therapy or healing. Yes, they need to take it, but in that specific moment, please be there for them as well, like listen to them, at least what they are saying, and then take them to a professional. Obviously take them, but don't shut them out completely. And the third is that as a mentor, we need to have that detachment, empathy, and it will develop over a period of time.
Yes. Okay. So, what do you think? What are the first steps people need to take uh, towards healing from trauma?
All right, I guess the first step would be to really turn towards you. In every single person, there are voices inside our head. Like in movies, it is shown devil and the angel. We all have felt those inner conflicts in all of us. Perhaps it is time, the very first thing that you need to do is to start at least listening to those conflicting voices. Okay, let me just listen to what am I thinking or feeling. At one moment, I want to do this. Another moment, I want to do this. What is happening? When you start realizing that, this self of yours, like, you're finally turning your head towards you, you're giving an ear to your own self, to your voice. When you start doing that, you actually start getting aware. It will be scary, it will be overwhelming. You will not want to hear yourself. You might feel that I'm going crazy, but you need to do that because no one else is coming from you for you. So the first thing that you need to do is, again, give yourself a benefit of doubt that, okay, maybe I am healed. Maybe everything is fine with me. Maybe nothing has ever happened to me. But let me listen to what the other people are saying. Let me at least, have that space for myself that in case if there is something, I can address it at the right time in the right moment. So start giving yourself the space to be vulnerable. Start giving yourself the space to be at least aware of the certain thoughts that you have. Be aware of your body, what your body needs, demands. If it is demanding food binging, why? Why is it demanding you to eat so much? What
Mm.
is happening? What is going wrong? Ask yourself these questions. And then, if needed, obviously read books. I would definitely say read books. But then, more than reading books, when you understand that, okay, there are a few things which are not addressable just by reading books or doing this or that, go to a professional and then start your discovery journey. Not saying don't read books, read books even after that, but the after a certain point of time, go ahead and ask for help.
This was beautiful insight. Yes, Meenakshi. So, can childhood trauma still affect someone in adulthood as well? And how can you explain this? Like, few people yesterday, I spoke to a person, and she said, I'm already old now, 65 plus, and I don't remember anything. And even if I remember, I think I have moved on. I don't. It doesn't bother me that much. So,
Right.
what do you have to say about this?
Well, I guess in this field we get to hear that a lot.
Yes.
We get to hear it a lot. I also remember there was this person who came in and she asked me, okay, what are your methods and everything? So I told her that you have to connect to your past pain. And she said, but why? Why do I need to go back there? I've already healed. I don't need anything. Like it's all done. I need to worry about my problems now. So, yes, we do get to hear that a lot. And here I would perhaps, take some reference even from one of my earliest cases, I would say. So, in the very starting of my career, I happened to just meet a person, and we were at an event, and she said that, these many things have happened in my life. Like, we had a very long chat at night, and we did so many things. We talked, we discussed, we shared. And then she booked 2 sessions with me. At that time, I was not going ahead with the proper systems. So she just booked 2 sessions with me and we went ahead with that. And she came in telling me that, you know what, I need to address the challenges with my husband, my current relationship. And she was very stubborn that, okay, everything in the past has been resolved. I need to address just the present moment. So I was like, okay, fine. Whatever she wants, let's see. So we started off the session, and I think we were in the session just for 15 minutes, and I was asking her to focus on the relationship. I was continuously giving her the command to focus on the relationship because this is what she specifically told me that this is what I want to focus on. So I was continuously telling her that, and then she started crying. So I thought, okay, maybe she connected to something. So after a while, I asked her to share, like, what happened or what is it that you're feeling at this point. And she said, Minakshi, I am an 8-year-old child. I can see my 8-year-old self, and these things are happening to me. And I'm like, Okay, so we started off the session then in that direction, like addressing that inner child's 8-year age challenge, though we started off with the relationship thing. So, yes, people do have this myth as well that if I am having a problem right now, I don't have to address anything back then, but your mind does remember those issues which are unresolved. It's like an archive, a database of all the unresolved case files. And when the command for healing is given, it is impossible for a person to not connect to their childhood consciously. Or again, this example that I shared, I really love this example. So your emotional brain, your logical brain, so it is disconnected. When you're traumatized, it is disconnected, and this part of the brain is telling, I have the problem in the now, I have the problem in the present moment, I am 65 years old, or I am a 30-year-old person who has resolved all the past issues. But this is how you're saying it. The minute we start healing, this is the part we start addressing, because our aim is to bring these two minds together to work together, not separate or apart. So you might feel nothing is there in the past, but when you start the healing process, even you will not be able to stop that healing of the child, of the inner child, of the past, of everything. So, give yourself a chance. Whatever professionals are out there who understand the processes, who have gone through it themselves, who are doing it with so many people, getting results out of it, there could be some truth in it, right? So let's give them a benefit of doubt. And even if you don't believe them, just have courage to see the possibility. Okay, I don't believe in it, but what if? So just go with that mentality and let the other person do the work. If it doesn't work, well, you know how it is even when it was not working for you. So there's no harm in it, na 50-50% chance. So just go ahead and take a chance with the person.
Yes, this was I believe this is going to add a lot of value to a lot of people, and they are going to be very clear about what is trauma and how it is going to affect. And now let's move on to this very crucial, very important topic where do you think this unresolved trauma affects the physical health, and if yes, in what ways?
Absolutely. Your emotional health is like the center of things. So most of the times, we use the term sentient being, or human being is also called a sentient being. That is the feeling being, the emotional part of you. It is existence. I guess again, I was looking at one of the videos in which it was saying that, what if we are not here to just be happy? What if we are here to experience all the emotions that are there in the world?
Mm.
All the emotions, the vast frequency of them that is there. Maybe we are not here to be happy. Again, we are just here to experience. So, starting off with that, if you are an emotional being which has never been given respect in, I guess, any part of the century, we have
Mm.
always been, maybe in the olden ancient times it was, but for
Mm.
the recent few hundred years, it has not been given that importance. So when our society, again, however it changed over a period of time, it definitely gave a lot of importance to the outer world. It
Yes.
gives a lot of importance to how you need to appear, behave, how you need to present yourself, and all these outwardly things is where we got hooked, in all of that Maya, I guess. And I'm sure in ancient times, maybe, emotional health might have had a lot of importance. Since not having a lot of research background now on that, I would refrain from saying anything, but I believe it might have been there, but now it is definitely not there. Gradually we are going towards, we are somewhere leaning towards the possibility, okay, maybe, something is there in emotions, yet there is a majority of crowd who believes in just play your A game, shut out your emotions, and be the machine and just go and do your work. But understand, when we do this, we are actually negating a very important aspect of our life. We are meant to feel. This is one of the unique qualities that we have. And when we shut this aspect of us as if it is a curse, it starts to build in with a lot of force all the negativities inside of us. So, for example, like just a simple example I'll give you, and I guess everyone would relate to it. Let's say you are sitting in a room full of people and something triggered you in that moment. You are there ready to burst out into your emotions. So, you're ready, your tears are almost around the corner, and just imagine how much effort you put in from refraining yourself from crying. It takes so much energy to stop yourself from crying, and I guess in everyone's life, this moment might have come. You're there in room full of people publicly, and something has happened to you, and you cannot cry. You just can't. So you stop all of those emotions with every single ounce of energy that is there in your body. And this is something that we are trained unconsciously by our society to do over the years that we live. When that happens, all of that energy that you're using to suppress all of those emotions, it also is affecting your physical body, because you might feel that your physical body is different than your emotional body and your psychological body or your existence, but it is not. Psychologically, emotionally, physically, you are existing together as a whole, not as separate different things. So you are giving respect to one thing but you're shutting another down, then where are you whole? You're not whole, complete, and perfect. You're broken into different pieces. This is why we often say that I feel broken. Why are these terms are also there? Because this is what you have pushed yourself into, forced, slaved yourself into to feel over a period of time. That, okay, I don't need my emotions, keep it on the sides. But it gradually grows. And as I was earlier saying, if your emotions, you're not addressing it, it will first turn into, small hints, small challenges that your body might feel, like fever, cold, cough, and other things. If you don't address it, it might turn into some mild, severe problems like your acidity or other things which do not bother you. Migraine, they might not bother you every single time, but it does bother you. Back pains, different body pains, exhaustion, you might definitely feel this. And again, when you still refuse to address and listen to your body, it, at the further end, it goes into being a physical disease. Or as I said, you might also have accidents, meet accidents, or have certain unpleasant experiences in your life. So a simple solution is that as soon as it is possible, start addressing your emotions, get them on your side. Again,
Mm.
when you're whole, just imagine how better you will perform.
Right. So, yes, I have seen this patterns like people who have been telling, like the words we say often, or maybe to ourselves, that has huge impact on our physical health. Like one of my mentees, she used to say, she said when she shared, she continuously said that she felt suffocated, she felt helpless due to certain incidents in her childhood. She continuously felt suffocated and helpless all the time. So that's when, like, now she has manifested into like that into a disease. Like she feels breathless, she feels anxious. So this is very much true that emotions have impact on our physical body. And from my own experience with rheumatoid arthritis, I've noticed that how stress and emotional traumas seem to impact my symptoms. Whenever I used to have certain, like, whenever I had certain incidents, certain, in certain occasions, I used to have flare ups. My symptoms used to, like, I used to have swellings, pains, whenever I had to face certain situations. So, what do you have to say about this? How do you explain this?
Yes, there are definitely moments when, again, your body is something which is extremely loyal to you. It keeps scores. Your body will keep scores if you don't. So that is there. That is definitely there. And, I guess here I would like to say this as well. I think every single person has a way, their body has a way to tell them uniquely. I'll share my aspect. So, what happens when I am under stress? I started noticing this thing since COVID. So, what happened when COVID struck? There was one particular symptom that used to come up, and again, the logical mind was like, oh, this is, COVID time, so this is happening. But I realized that no, it is not so. And again, since having had the knowledge space, it was like, don't go into that stupid logical reasoning and share it to for the say that these are all the external things which are causing you this disease. No, there is something emotionally challenged you feel, where these symptoms are coming up. So what used to happen to me was, there are two things which actually happen to me when I get stressed and I am not addressing that. One is, I don't know if you will be able to see it, but yeah. So here, when I was very small, I had blisters. So I was very small. So my father, I think he had maybe busted open. So I still have the scars here. So what happens whenever I am getting emotional, whenever I had that inner crying, my
Mm,
this I used to swell up without any reason. There was
mm,
no pain, nothing. It just swelled up. And
mm,
that is how, so again, since my mother is someone who is my mentor and she always understands these things, so I can't
mm,
escape it. So the minute I would wake up some morning and I have this, she's like, what is your problem? What is your emotional problem? Sit. So this was how my body used to tell me that there is an inner crying. So again,
mm,
we have some general things which are there, but it is possible that your body could be uniquely telling you about, communicating to you that these are some emotional challenges that you're having. So this was one way that I used to feel. The second symptom was when I used to get sprains in my body, right? Suddenly I might get sprains in my body and
mm,
again, no reason, nothing. And that is the second symptom which I used to get whenever, some or the other aspect was going wrong. So these are two symptoms when I would understand, okay, now, there is an emotional problem. So I don't get sick, like I don't get fever, I don't get touchwood, I don't get fever, I don't get cold cough. But these are my unique symbols, ways where my body tells me that, Meenakshi, there is something wrong. So, you're not addressing
mm.
your emotions. So these are turning into physical diseases. That is
Okay.
my thing. And you might also have certain such, specific conditions telling you that, okay, some problem is there. Like for some people, it could be migraine. For some people, it could be, chest pain in the chest, sudden pain in the chest out of nowhere. For some people, it could be, again, fever. Fever is something which is very common. Before the exams, after the exams, before a meeting, after a meeting, after talking to the boss, after meeting the relatives. So you need to actually start understanding the pattern of your diseases and how you get it. You might not get all the diseases, but there will be specific diseases telling you and sharing with you, communicating to you that there is an emotional challenge, address it. So start identifying that.
Okay, that was a wonderful insight. So, in your experience working with clients who have chronic conditions, how does healing emotional trauma help with managing physical symptoms, particularly in autoimmune diseases?
All right. So I guess I'll take the example of one, acidity, acidity issues. It's a very common issue among people. What happened was, acidity is usually again related to anger. Acidity, the acidity of the emotions where we feel acidic. So I guess I have till now sat with 5 or 6 people who had acidity issue, and all of them had different conditions, different contexts, and they also released it in different ways. For one person, when I used to take sessions, initially every single time we used to take sessions, the person used to warm it out. So the person
Mhm.
was sitting in the session, whenever we are dealing with those emotional challenges, something white, liquidy substance used to actually come out of their mouth, and they used to, always keep a cup in front of them to pour it out into it. And this happened, I guess, in 15 or 16 sittings, but after that it stopped, because it had somewhere, it was like you physically, emotionally had released that acidity out of your body. So this was one of my experiences where the person was literally puking it out. So this is something again which is very common. The second thing is, when we start working with people having physical diseases, sometimes their symptoms might flare up. Sometimes this is symptoms might go down, but after a period of time, again, as it might flare up as well. So there is an up and down movement most of the times. And the reason for that is that when we start healing, it again is not a very straight line journey, it's a very zigzag journey. So let's say we sat today and there somebody complained that I have this pain in my body or this pain in my joint. So we started working on that emotion, and we discovered, okay, these were the different reasons because of which you got this physical dis-ease in your body, trying to tell you that there is an emotional challenge which you negated very long, long back. So now it has converted into physical disease. So maybe after that session, it might go away. But after a period of time, it is possible the symptom might come up again, but this time it might have a different reason. So earlier, it could be possible it was because of some anger that you were holding against your parents. I'm just taking an example randomly. So maybe it was because of your parents, but later it comes because you were also bullied by other people. So in the same area, you might get the pain. The only thing is that, again, trust the process, because healing comes in layers. And your body is the only way, one of the ways which tells you, it acts like a standard something, like a touchstone, which keeps telling you that now you need to work on this, now you need to work on that. So trust your body, trust the process, and do it until that thing really goes away. Because that's the only way. Once you enter into it, the only way out is through it. Not by leaving it, not by avoiding it, not by denying it. Just through it. Go through it. And if you do it with a mentor, obviously it becomes easier.
True. So in my case, working through trauma helped me not only emotionally, but also I mean, physically and all other aspects of my life. Started like I could see changes in all other aspects, like career and connection with myself. It might be my relationships with others. Everything changed, and like for people who are just starting to address their trauma, especially those with chronic illness, what would you recommend as the first step towards healing? So, yeah.
So yeah, when you shared this, that when you started your journey, you not only felt a change in your physical environment, your emotional, mental environment, but also the things around you. So again, as we said, your emotions are like the core of you, the center of you. And it also includes your physical body, it also includes your psychological identity. All of these together like are, your core of yourself. And when all of these comes together, when you start to actually be whole, complete and perfect, your environment will definitely shift, because we keep saying this, your inner world is the one creating your outer world. So as you change into a different person, you are also stepping into a different, renewed identity of yours. So your relationships will definitely change. And it also happens that your life goes chaotic as well, because
Right.
it's destroying the older version of you that lived in a certain universe or reality. It needs to be destroyed so that something new can be created. And I guess you have also gone through that phase. Everyone goes through that phase. I have gone through that phase. So it is there. So in those moments, I guess you would have to accept the fact that the minute I'm starting my journey, destruction is waiting me around the corner. Not destruction, but destruction of this reality is waiting around the corner, because this is what I asked for. I asked for a different reality to exist in, where maybe, I don't have this diseased body. I am jumping into a quantum different reality. So you will have to be okay with the chaos around you. That
Yes.
being said, the first thing maybe what people need to do is create as much awareness as they can for themselves, and also help their near and dear ones understand the journey, the process as well, as much as it is possible. Because yes, your healing journey will be an individual journey, but a human being is not just a human being, it is also a relationship being. So, as much as it is possible. Now, when I say this, I do understand and I recognize that there are so many relationships out there, which you might say that, okay, these are the relationships which are causing trouble for me. Yes, there will be more cases of relationship challenges where, you might come up and say, I don't have anybody. I accept it, I agree with it. In for those, what I would say is, when I say this relationship part, it is not again about others. The first relationship that starts is with yourself, with your body. First of all, most of the times we are not having that proper healthy relationship with us. We need to start generating and creating that relationship first. And relationship does not mean a blood relationship. It actually could be, a simple normal human interaction out there in your environment, maybe just a simple ignorant friend of yours who you don't even want to talk to, but have that connection with people. We in this, again, I think this is important. When relationships come up, it is about connection, not attachment.
Right.
Have a friend, have a connection with them, not attachment. Yes, there will be expectations also, but it's like, so I shared this with someone and that person really liked it, and maybe it might help others as well. So let's say this cup is you. Okay, so this cup is you. Now you get to decide who you will give this cup to. So let's say if there is a person in front of me and I feel that this person can really take care of this cup, maybe I'll give the cup to them. But
Yes.
I don't recommend that. Keep this cup to yourself. This cup is something which is your responsibility. So keep this,
Mm.
not expectation, but this care for yourself in your hands, in your control, while you connect with people. When you're going out for a coffee, you don't give your cup to them. You have your own cup in your hand and you let their cup be in their own hands, but you have a conversation. So somewhere, if you can replicate this in your relationship, then rather than giving the responsibility of your inner child to your friend, to your family, to someone, keep the responsibility to yourself and connect with people. Don't get attached with them. I know it's easier said than done, but
Yeah.
that is where, again, healing process, connecting with a mentor, doing it, under that space, so that you can go back and ask them questions if something goes wrong or if something doesn't work out. So do that. So awareness, creating awareness even in the people around you, also
Yes.
telling them, accepting the fact that I am doing this. I guess I shared this with a few people, that let's say somebody is coming up into your space and joking with you, that, oh, this is how you do, this is how you talk, oh, now you're rich now, so you will do this.
Mm.
Ask them to not say this.
Yes.
Build that respect for yourself among them, that, okay, you know what, you can say this, that I am rich, you can keep saying this affirmation again, but say it in a way which is really good, because when I am rich, I'll take you on a vacation. So make sure that even linguistic terms that people are using for you or to describe you, you are changing that in your image. Don't let them disrespect you, don't let them pity you, don't
Right.
let them say certain things to you which feels humiliating at a very, or demeaning at a very personal level. If you feel that this is not right, even if it is your friend or family, very politely tell them that, see, you can say that I'm rich, but
Yes.
let's say it in a positive way. Yaar. It's an
Um,
affirmation. I'm
It's
listening to that
very
affirmation.
beautiful, actually. I could relate to what you're saying completely. Before, nobody told this to me exclusively, like just now you told, but maybe after you heal, it naturally comes to you. You're subconsciously, you're aware of all these things. I'm doing this. I mean, now I'm not taking when anybody is demeaning you, or
I
I
think
won't let,
this is
yeah.
another thing which you shared.
Because there are like it might be some side. These are the side effects of healing. Yeah,
Side effects of
yeah,
healing. Actually,
yeah,
this is something which is important again to emphasize that again, all of these discussions that we are having, it is really to go out there and create awareness. But
right,
trust me, when you start the process of healing, nobody would have to tell you certain things. It will
right.
automatically flow into your life. And I guess this is what you experienced when you clear all the blockages. It's like you connect to that higher frequency vibration, and everything that is supposed to happen in your favor just flows to you because you're open to that receiving this. So this is what it is. You don't have to force healing, you don't have to force affirmations or gratitude. It is just
Yes.
there for you.
Yeah, this would be a wonderful advice for people, or a suggestion. When you start your healing journey, it is very important to trust your mentor and fully surrender. Like surrender in the sense, not surrendering to them, maybe to surrender to that process, so that they will be like. I mean, uh, when I started my healing journey, you never told me do this, do that. You should do this. You should. Usually, this is what. Uh, you mentors or anybody does that, they give a certain instruction, do this, do that, but in this healing journey, you never told me to do this or do that. You just took me through the process, and things started changing, and I started getting confidence and how to, like, I was very confused to take decisions before, uh, in every
I
aspects,
remember.
yeah.
I
I
remember you
start,
had, I think our conversation started with you asking me something, and I was like,
yes,
okay, I can either, suggest many things to you, or maybe I can just take you to that point, show you that path where you reach and you automatically start finding your solutions.
right,
You started realizing that the solutions came to you automatically, how you have to behave, what you have to say, how you have to be
right.
with your relationship. It just came to you automatically. I never had to tell anything to you that do this, do that. You just
Right.
got it automatically. Yes, you are absolutely right. This is important. This is really important.
So, one last question before we end is like, from your perspective as a wellness mentor, like, what is the long-term impact of unresolved trauma, and how can healing trauma contribute to overall well-being?
All right. I guess that's really a heavy question, and people again need to hear this. The long term impact of a trauma can be really devastating. I'll give just one example, maybe. So, I recently went to an event, and there we got a chance to meet a lot of billionaires and people who had generated a lot of success around them and so many other things. And what I realized was there was a picture painted of them. But when we were there in the same room with them, I realized that, oh my God, the person's health is down the hill, completely down the hill. The person's relationship with the family, daughter, wife, son, down the hill, like in a very horrible state. The person's career is also down the hill. It's just that that image is there out there, right? And when you talk about spiritual and other things, like it's nowhere in the scene. So taking just this person's example who's really successful with nothing in life is what life can really do to you. If you can, you would be somewhere, you will find at the end of the journey that you're alone, even when you are like in the crowd. Like these are some of the very fine aspects of what happens in the long run, which you might feel doesn't matter right now.
Okay.
But in the long run, as you go along the journey, it can really make you go insane. You might feel lost. You become a breeding ground for a lot of diseases, a lot of diseases, where something which we call comorbidity. So it's possible you might want to forget certain things. It's possible your body could be having certain problems. It's possible that emotionally you could be, depressed or doing many things. So basically you become a breeding ground for diseases, problems, challenges, traumas, life problems. You become like that magnet of attracting every bad luck that you can. And in that moment, all you would have to say is, okay, you know what, this is what life does. This is what struggle is. You can say a lot of things to yourself, but as a soul, you would ultimately really regret that part of your life. I mean, this is, I guess it is something which many people will not connect to right now because it might not seem that important. But this is
Right.
how it is. In the long run, your relationships are going to fail. In the long run, your money will also fail you. In the long run, your body will definitely fail you. You might feel that you're winning in certain part of your life, but you're not. And the worst thing would be you will not even realize what you're losing. You will
Right.
not. Again, these are very abstract problems or challenges that you will face in the life. But to tell you, you will actually feel that this life itself is a curse. Right? And if you're feeling that, and if you often feel that, that means that you have already crossed the stage of healing. And now if you can get back into it as soon as possible, do it.
Mhm.
Because life was meant to experience, life was meant to be simple. It's just that to keep it simple is difficult.
Yes, that's wonderful.
It's there.
Wonderful quote.
I guess I answered parts of the question, or is there anything which is left?
Yes, it was very detailed, and I could completely connect to it. Sure, this was very insightful. So we have come to the end of this wonderful session. And we had such a powerful conversation today about emotional wellness, trauma healing, from understanding how trauma affects us to, and also Meenakshi shared some invaluable wisdom. And I want to sincerely thank Meenakshi for being here today and for sharing her experience with us. And your guidance has been truly inspiring. And I know our listeners will take away so much from this episode.
I really.
So, you have any one last advice or anything that you want to say to for people who are seeking help from a coach or a therapist,
See, I'll tell you
trauma
this.
recovery? Yeah.
I'll just use this line from one of the greatest movies, Matrix. Many people like it. So, in that, the person at one point says that you're not here to choose. You have already made the decision. You're basically here to understand why did I choose this option, right?
Mhm.
So, to be honest, as a human being, you have already chosen to heal. It's just that you are finding for the right reasons to understand why do I need to heal. For that, it is possible you will have to trust, just trust the mentor that is going to be out there. It's possible that many times you will not connect to many of the mentors. Like this has happened to me also. Many of the mentees who have come to me have sometimes not felt connected to me. It has happened. So it's okay. It's okay if you are going to someone you're not feeling connected, but don't stop there. Go to someone else. Maybe you will come to the right person, or just have put it out there into the universe and let the process unfold itself for you.
Right.
Don't stay closed to it. As a human being, we are all meant to grow and evolve. Like every single thing that you see in nature, it grows, it never depreciates. It always changes, evolves, grows, creates itself. This is how we human beings are as well. We naturally want to change. It is a decision that is innately present in all of us. It's just that we need to find the right reason sometimes. Like, we need to hear to the right reasons as to why I chose this. And maybe, yeah, I guess when I say this, you also need to maybe sometimes understand that why did I choose to stay unhealed as well. So, even for understanding that, you need to have your cups empty and you need to reach out there to really start that self discovery journey as to what is happening. Like, I personally call this, so this is a term which was coined by Groff and Groff long back, uh, as spiritual crisis. So, spiritual crisis is a word that I really like. So, initially, when you asked me about trauma, I personally define trauma as spiritual crisis. It's like
Mhm.
spiritually, something has gone wrong. You are in a crisis. So, crisis has two meanings. One, that, something destructive has happened and you're here. And the second implication of crisis is that this is a crisis, but out there is an opportunity or a possibility that you need to catch hold on to. So crisis has two meanings, that you're in problem but there is an opportunity as well. So this is what this space is. So give yourself the opportunity to understand why did you choose to stay unhealed and why are you now choosing to heal, and just evolve.
It's wonderful. Very powerful session, Meenakshi. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the insights. Every time I have a conversation with you, I get a lot of insights, and it's wonderful talking to you. Thank you. Thank you so
Wonderful
much.
sharing as well. I guess it goes two ways. When I talk to people, only then I get insights. So it's like, oh, this is a bulb moment for me also.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. And so, everyone, if today's episode resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on how you can start your own healing journey. Don't hesitate to reach out to a coach or a practitioner or a therapist. And so, if you think we added value, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and share it to as many people, whoever you think needs this. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Meenakshi, for this
Thank you
wonderful
so
session.
much for having me on this beautiful platform, which you are using to reach out to many people and really adding a lot of value.
Thank you.